I want to talk in this video about our cultural mythology that states you can't change someone else. You can only change yourself. We've all heard that mantra, right? Well, I'm here to tell you that you can change anyone. And as we explore in this video, I want you to be open to the possibility of that, because changing your thinking around this matters in terms of the patience and the outcome that we'll glean from the intervention. If you keep buying into one of the several deeply ingrained cultural myths about change, they'll silence discussion about the power that you have to change another human being. So let's start by debunking some of the more popular myths that have sprung up around this very topic of change. First one is people don't change. There's a silly fable about a scorpion and a turtle at the riverbank, and each had to get to the other side of the river. You might have heard this. The scorpion can't swim, so it asks the turtle to ferry it across, and the turtle agrees to carry the scorpion, reasoning that the scorpion wouldn't be foolish enough to endanger itself by hurting the turtle while it's carrying it. After all, they both would drown. But halfway across the river, the scorpion stings the turtle in its neck. Wow. As both of them are sinking into the water, the turtle screams, "Why did you sting me?" Scorpion replies, "Because it's my nature. It's what I do." This fable reinforces something that's right up there with a leopard can't change its spots, or you can't teach an old dog new tricks. All three imply that you cannot make people change established patterns or opinions of behavior because these are their natural instincts and tendencies. But listen, my experience as an interventionist has been that people who don't want to change will quote these worn out cliches as an excuse to continue as they always have. But is it really true? Think about it. It's not so unusual to hear or speak phrases like, "That sermon changed my life," or "You're not the same person you were when I married you," or "Wow, he really grew up overnight," or "I didn't know any better when I was your age, but I'm different now." As we look back on our own lives, do you feel that you've grown and developed, matured in significant ways? Of course you have. And that's my point. The bottom line is that any personalities or behaviors can be fixed. You and everybody else can change. Myth number 2 is you're powerless over helping someone change. This second myth of change is really the one that I hear so often during intervention prep. Such a widely accepted belief that many people won't even dispute it. The idea that we really are powerless, that we should just watch and wait until somebody else hits bottom is dangerous. We hear that bottom talk a lot too. And we watch and we wait and we pray and hope, and we end up with a dead spouse or a dead kid because someone is listening to a myth. The bottom that we identify with and act on may be our own. So put down your shovel and commit that we're not going to sink any deeper into this change nonsense. People can and do change, and leveraging them through intervention is a powerful way to do that. Saying that someone's self-destructive habit has really gotten out of control doesn't mean that you are powerless to help them. It just means that somebody's habit has gotten out of control and this person needs change. They need help. Maybe they need a doctor. You're not a doctor. That doesn't mean that they can't change. And look, change may be difficult. Sometimes it feels impossible, but that doesn't mean that people can't do it or that you're powerless to help them. And remember this, the intervention isn't about changing someone. It's just about getting them to say yes so that they can get help to change. That's important. Myth number 3, people only change on their own. If somebody could change on their own, wouldn't they do it in a heartbeat, right? After all, who wants to lie awake nights terrified of winding up in the streets? Who wants to be stressed out about being evicted or scared or uncertain about their future? The truth is, most people don't change entirely on their own. They change typically when external forces have a hand in helping them change. That's the next myth I'll blow out of the water, though. Myth number 4, you can't help somebody until they're ready. This myth makes my brain freeze. It might be said that if somebody you love is refusing help, you qualify for an intervention if you believe this myth. But it's just not true. Consider how thousands of us die every year prematurely while their loved ones wait for them to, quote, get ready. We are the clear heads in the conference room. We're the board of directors while our suffering loved one isn't thinking straight. They're addicted, they're afflicted, and then we get affected. So how do we help them get ready? That's the whole point of intervention. Consider then the barometer of ready. It's a measure of many things. Are they ready for help? Are they ready to be dead? There are different stages on the way to successful change, and these stages include pre-contemplation, when somebody can't or won't deal with their habit or behavior right now; contemplation, when somebody wants to change but isn't really ready to act; preparation, he's ready to try to give it a go; and then when they're actually in action, making change. Person in the intervention often gets just ready enough to say yes to trying something new. They're not ready for anything above and beyond that. Even to ask that or demand that is a tepid, dumb idea. Sometimes in intervention, I'll hear a loved one say, after our identified loved one says yes to help, but are you really ready? Do you really want the change? We don't ask questions like that in the intervention, truthfully. All we want is a yes to try to give it a go, a thoughtful plan of change so that somebody can get the help they need to change. Here's the deal. Many people over the years, I'd say most of my intervention clients, over 1,000 to date, weren't ready to get better. They needed help to get better. In fact, they needed help to get in the car to go get help to get better. They weren't exactly ready themselves, but the group still got them to say yes. Consider this truth, that with your love and help and support, your loved one says yes to help. The next word, the next day, the next interaction gives you another chance to make a positive impact. And it all builds on the possibility of change that comes through intervention. Myth number 5, fear is the best motivator for change. Humans sometimes seem to be perversely resistant to doing what we know is good for us and not doing things that are clearly bad for us. Yet the ways typically used to try to change people are ineffective motivators, like fear. According to studies of what works and what doesn't work to get people to live healthier lives, motivation for change often comes down to giving something a chance. Consider this, how 90% of cardiac event patients fail at making the necessary lifestyle interventions that will stave off a future cardiac event. Makes no sense, right? But fear alone is often not the magic ticket. For those who suffer with addiction and eating disorders or mental health challenges, fear is not the thing. No one wants to change when they're being told that they're doing everything wrong. Your family or loved one already knows that we disapprove of their choices, so lectures and threats and scare tactics often don't bring about the change we want, but they can help us get a yes in the intervention if we share our eyewitness accounts with love and compassion. The joy of living is more powerful as a motivator than the fear of dying, for sure. So when there's something that exemplifies how to sell change, consider that. Compelling, positive visions of the future are a strong inspiration for change. That's why I love the question of what is your hope to share as an eyewitness account in the intervention as such a powerful tool in helping someone identify a possibility that they can't think of on their own. People will often choose love over fear as a motivator for seeking help. And love is the most powerful dimension of the human imagination. It unleashes power and force for change. Many people go through life accepting all the myths we've talked about, holding on to them because we've been taught that they're right. Yet change can't happen until we unlearn some of those and let them go. So say goodbye to the leopards, the scorpions, and the old dogs. Once you do that, and I know that you can, you're going to be ready to take action in ways that will make a profound and lasting difference in the lives of those that you love.